Hey guys, welcome to another video. Hopefully you're doing okay. I know it's around the holidays and Christmas has just happened the other day, or maybe if I post this on Christmas Day, maybe today is Christmas and Merry Christmas. I got my festive, let's see if I can, my festive cup. Will it focus? There it goes. There it goes. It focuses for the people watching the video. Oh, I have an interesting topic for you today that I hopefully you will appreciate. It actually came up during a coaching call. Person asked a question, or was telling a story of asking one of their friends about being present in the moment. Basically, the question was, have you ever felt present? And the person was like, what? And here's my question to you. Is this something that is foreign to you, or as we're discussing this, are you looking at it going, holy crap, I absolutely haven't been present for most of my life? And it was kind of funny when this person mentioned this, because it was something that I had a really hard time with. Most of my life was filled with chaos and consternation. I hate that word. I had a boss who used to like to use that all the time. It's like his word of the day. But as a result of that living in chaos, you're constantly, your mind's going 1,000 miles an hour. You don't have time to slow down because you're worried about the next catastrophe that's going to happen. Your anxiety is always at maximum. And probably what you've experienced throughout your life is anytime you tried to but anytime you tried to get some peace in your life, the significant person in your life, whether it's your spouse, your parents, siblings, girlfriends, boyfriends, whatever the case may be, if they saw that you were not in chaos, they'd have to bring it back up. They'd have to remind you, no, you cannot calm down. You have to remember that I'm in charge, that I control your emotional state. And you're not allowed to feel peace or have a moment unless I decide. But it's interesting, right? Because even when you try to escape these things, these situations, very often it just ramps up more. For instance, for me, I know that when I first escaped, I actually felt a tremendous sigh of relief. I'm like, oh my God, finally this chaos, I can remove this chaos from my life. That was incorrect. I was incorrect in that assessment. The other person had different plans, and how dare you think you're going to escape and you're going to live in peace? No, I'm going to use everything in my power to drag you back down into the pit of hell. Merry Christmas. So here's the thing. And I know I'm kind of going off on a tangent, but I think, and I'll ask a question for anyone listening to this, do you feel like you were never in a position to be able to pause to enjoy the moment? Now, I do have to, in all honesty, in all fairness, full disclosure, I do have to mention that there were times I really enjoyed photography. So when we were doing stuff, I'd want to take pictures of it. I want to capture the moment. Maybe that was the way I was present in the moment. But then again, I wasn't present, right? So the ex would take her little bony finger and go boop right in my eye. Why can't you just enjoy the moment? And that wasn't in the context of this conversation. It was more of how to ruin the moment, right? So, and to be honest, I'm really grateful of all the imagery and video and everything that I did take throughout the years, because it does make it incredibly nice to go back and look at that stuff and be able to drop back into that moment. But my point is this, and it was an interesting conversation I was having with this person, because when they said that, I'm like, there it is, right there. You're not there yet. Because the discussion was, well, I can't, I'm not in the moment, and I've never been able to. And I'm like, man, right there, that's how things start to change, is you start to just be present in the moment that you're in. And I'll tell you what, with the way that worked for me, it was kind of bizarre, because at the early stages of this, I had no money. I only had a couple things in the house because of people who felt sorry for me and gave me their hand-me-downs and old furniture. And, it's like, hey, I'm sending this stuff to the dump. Would you like it? I'm like, yep. Instead of a cardboard box, I can have something that's kind of like an end table or kind of like a couch. Actually, some of that stuff I still have. It's pretty funny. But maybe it wasn't so funny back then. But there came a point that just the peace in the house. Like, I used to like to open up the windows, and that not whenever it's out here in the desert, it gets like 118 degrees. That's no fun. But just let the breeze come through and just kind of like enjoy the stillness. In the early part of that, it was very similar to the video I made a couple of weeks ago, or probably a month ago now, where I went out into the desert. For you folks that are watching this on video or, listen. If you listen to the podcast, you may not know, but sometimes I film the stuff out there, out in, just right outside not right outside my house, but in the, like 5 or 10 minutes from my place. And it's amazing because you can get out there and there's no noise. There's no sound pollution. There's no cars driving by. There's no loud music. There's no thump, thump, thump. There's no sirens or anything like that. It's just peaceful. The most you'll hear is the wind blowing through the sagebrush whenever it's not blowing a lot, because wind blows up. Sometimes it blows so much out here that it's not so much fun. If you're in your truck with the windows up, maybe it's not so bad. But just being able to appreciate that and just to have that moment, it's something that when you realize that and you can accomplish it, you also realize that's something that your ex can't take away from you. Your parents can't take away from you. It's something that you own in that instant. And if you can stop yourself, pause yourself to appreciate that moment, it can really make a huge difference. Now, I understand if you're farther along on this or whatever, or you just happen to run across my channel, you're like, what in the hell is this guy talking about? But for you folks who have been in a life of chaos, in some ways you might even be experiencing that right now with court, custody issues, fighting with the kids, fighting with the ex. to where you're caught up in the daily drama, you can, this can be a completely foreign concept to you. But the thing is that it's a fundamental change, a fundamental shift in your perspective that is just one little step that starts to change everything. Now, somebody like me, it took me decades to figure this out. It was not something that I figured out in my late teens or whatever. It literally was something that it took me. I mean, I probably was in my late 40s. Well, yeah, obviously that was that. I mean, it was probably, after the divorce, and there was varying stages of it, right? I mean, because there was like a moment in the beginning of this where I did capture this and I did feel it, and I'm like, oh my God, this is outstanding. And then it was like, like the old movies where, there's like 10 minutes left in the movie and it seems like it's wrapped up and you're like, what are they going to do for the last, 5 or 10 minutes of this movie? And then the hand comes out of the grave and grabs a person and it's a jump scare. And, when that type of stuff happens, you just get back in that fight or flight mode, that running gun battle, so to speak, to where you're just in survival mode and you don't really have time to think about it. But the thing is, I really think that concept of just being present in the moment is really important, and it fundamentally shifts how you think. Now, to back up for a moment, there's also a technique that when you're really stressed, to try to break that pattern interrupt in your mind to bring you back into the moment. Not so much to where you can kind of enjoy it to where it's a peaceful thing, but more of it's like you're in chaos. You're like, oh my God, my life's out of control. And to where you're like, okay, let me get in the moment. Like if I'm looking at like right now, I'm looking at my computer screen and it's like, okay, there's the monitor and there's the corners and there's that corner and then there's that corner and there's that corner. And I'm here right now and I'm at the desk and that's kind of another way of using it to help you whenever you're under a tremendous amount of stress, to kind of bring you back from that catastrophic level of thinking, that massive amount of anxiety that is just ramped up. And it's a way to kind of break the pattern to stop you thinking. Now, I don't necessarily do that. I mean, you've probably heard me if you've been following me for a while. I talk a lot about, just slowing yourself down, like take a deep breath, excuse me. And that again is like one of those things where you do a pattern interrupt. It's like if you're completely freaking out and you're breathing shallow and your adrenaline's going and it's like, okay, calm down, calm down, slow yourself down. Right. It's kind of the same thing. One is you're actually bringing yourself into the moment. With a lot of times what I'm talking about is just doing it in your own mind to kind of slow yourself down, to get you to break that pattern. The thing is, these situations are so freaking tough. You're looking at your life and you're thinking everything's spiraling out of control, and you get so, into this, what if they win everything? What if I lose everything? What if I lose? I used to do this. What if I lose my job? What if, what if the government shuts down and they cut my position and, and I'm not able to work and then I'm going to, then it's like you start speeding up. It's like, well, then what, then I'm going to get behind and support, and then they're going to come after me. Then they're going to take, they're going to throw me in jail, and they're going to do this and they're going to do that. And it's so easy to get so lost in the what ifs and the possibilities that you do not have the ability to even enjoy the moment. I'll give you one last little story. It's something kind of in this mode, But at work was really stressful for the longest time. It's like everything was chaos. And every once in a while, we'd have a victory. It's like, oh, cool, we knocked this one out of the park. It's great. And it's like, all right, but I got to deal with this other problem, and I'll enjoy that later. And it's like before I could get to the point to enjoy it, it would just something else catastrophic would happen, and there would never be a time to be present in that moment to enjoy it. And over time at work, I had to start basically like when something positive happens, said, okay, you know what? Let's take a moment. Even if it was with a team, it's like, all right, let's take a moment and just appreciate that we did a good job on this one. And this one, we knocked it out of the park. And thanks everybody, good job. Clap, clap, clap. Even if it was just something that was for me, I would do the same thing. I'd be like, okay, take a moment and kind of feel this positiveness, because you don't know what's going to happen an hour down the road. The other flip side to this is, and this is a really tough one that I think a lot of people struggle with in the beginning of this. And I'll tell you that this is one of those things that these wonderful, glorious human beings that we've decided to, team up with are masters at. Mine was excellent at it. Is the little kiddies come over. You're kind of trying to have a good moment, and then they just drop, a bomb right in the middle of everything. It takes you out of that moment, and your stress level goes up because something happens, and you're responding and reacting to a scenario that they've orchestrated, and it just sends you down the spiral to hell, so to speak. And it took me a really long time to it's so weird now. I can look at it now and I'm like, oh my God, that was so freaking obvious. Why was I even surprised that the kids walked through the door, 30 minutes later, so enough time for her to drive back or drive around the corner and go ding, hit send on the email, bing. And I'm like, oh my God, I got to check this. And it's some bad thing, oh, there's this bill, or, oh, whatever, or you owe me this, or, whatever the hell the deal is. Don't allow those people to do that. Don't allow them to break you out of being present in the moment, especially when you have time with your kids. Turn that crap off. Set up a rule to take those emails and throw them into a holding account. If you can't do that, turn your mail off on your phone. If they're texting you, go to airplane mode, or, block them, or do something to where they do not have direct access to you. So that way you can do it on your time and it doesn't affect you and pull you out of the moment that you're in and drag you into a crappy moment. Anyways, I'm curious what you think about this. Is this one of those things where you're like, holy crap, I hadn't thought about that, and I've been in a running gun battle most of my life and haven't had the opportunity to be present in the moment. I'm curious what your thoughts on this are, and how this concept has played a role in your life. For me, it played a significant role, and it was instrumental in me getting my life back and taking my power back and ensuring that although nothing had changed, meaning, custody didn't change, child support didn't change, she didn't get a job or anything like that, ensuring that I was able to take my life back and start to find peace and start to find some joy in this this clusterfuck of a situation. Anyways, let me know what you think. And on that, I'm going to roll this out. Let's see if I can do this. I'm going to say thank you to the channel members who helped make this possible. Names, if you're watching this on video, are scrolling on the screen. Thank you so much. Your support has been instrumental in keeping this channel up and going. I know I don't make videos as much as I do, but I really do appreciate everything you do. Take care.